organized by the Debating Division of Chapara Voice. The Clash of Minds 2024 is here in this year also to boost your debating skills to the next level. And this year, we have the school category for the first time to cheer up the teams. We are super excited to have you all here today to dive into the world of debating. Today, our workshop is going to be conducted by the most talented person of the island. He is a lecturer at Open University of Sri Lanka and an educational psychological counselor. He is a national level debating judge and especially he owns the title Global Oratory Voice Champion. Seems he hasn't left the field of journalism also because he is a freelance journalist too. So without further ado, let's welcome our super talented Mr. Suminda Shakya to share his insights with us. Sir, the time is yours.
Okay, am I audible and visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so thank you the University of Sri Jayewardenepura for having me for the second time. I mean, for the third time. So when I was an undergraduate, so I too competed in debating competitions, both in bilingual medium in the sense, both in Sinhala and English. So really glad to be engaged in the programs conducted by University of Sri Jayewardenepura, one of the universities which I love most, and the enthusiastic school students will be joining for the first time for Clash of Minds in debating arena, and my dear
Recording in progress.
enthusiastic university students. So, Nishma, can we have the presentation shared?
Yeah, sure, sir.
Okay. Okay, shall we? So I have named the title as Awaken the Debater in You. So shall we move to the next slide? Okay, hello everyone. So, hello everyone in the sense, before everything, I should know the virtual option. Raise hand to see whether how many school students are there and how many university students are. First of all, raise your hands, those who are from school. School, okay, okay. Okay, we have a lot. Thank you for that. So, can we have the enthusiastic university undergraduates? Okay, one, two. Okay, thank you. Great. So, before moving to the topic, awaken the debate in having some sort of right. I thought of having some sort of an identification. So, right. Randomly, can someone unmute and just talk of your experience with regard to English debating? I mean, one of those enthusiastic students. Do you have Akif here? Or else Ekmin Samaravira? Is it okay if I talk? I mean, because although this is a workshop, this must be a two-way one. So, can I have a word from you? I mean, about your experience, just to get to know yourselves. Anyone? Any volunteer? Okay, no worries. Right. We'll move to the next slide, Nisma. Right. Okay. We can move to the next slide. Thank you. So, moving to the next slide, I have prepared an outline. Right. So, outline it clearly says attitude matters a lot. I thought of putting this because since I'm a lecturer, plus I'm engaged in some sort of other activities which related to social development, I thought of putting this to improve, to give you an idea regarding the basic attitudes that are required. And the second topic, it says succeed in your debating career. And finally, you have balls to your talk. Right. Can we have the next slide for that? Right. Attitude matters a lot. The first thing, right? The first attitude in the next slide. Isma, can we have the next slide? Right. Okay. Let's say love yourself plus love and compassion. Now, when it comes to love yourself, loving yourself, Piputta, first of all, you have to understand your goals or targets, right? So you have to understand your goals or targets so that you can be target oriented. Now, when it comes to a debater, right? So if you are having the passion of debating, or if you are having the passion of speaking, or if you are having the passion of announcing, right? You have to do everything supportive for yourself. That is loving yourself in the sense you have to have a target within you, right? You have to work towards that. Plus, love and compassion mean, right? You have to support, right? You have to support others with love and compassion. You can love everyone with that love and compassion, right? You can be a social being who is really empathetic, who is really compassionate and beloved, right? So it's essential when it comes to a debater, right? So in further slides, we'll be talking of that. So debating is basically a relay race. In that sense, to be an eloquent debater, so you have to practice the team spirit within you as well, right? So love and compassion mean basically you have to love yourself, have a target, plus you have to practice loving each other, and you have to practice having compassion within you or empathy within you to be developed as a social being. Right. Shall we have the next slide? Then moving to the next slide. Now, be dedicated, committed, courageous, and target oriented. Now, when it comes to my personal experience, I could become a university lecturer by the age of 25. So, with for that target of becoming a university lecturer, I had to work hard. I had to be dedicated with the first class and some sort of medals from vice chancellor, and plus the other extracurricular activities which had to be done and which I enjoyed doing during my university career and school career, right? So you have to be dedicated. දැන් මෙතන ඉන්න පුළුවන් A level කරන ළමයි. So the A level කරන ළමයි dedicated කියලා කියන්නේ so you cannot attend I mean the funerals of distant relatives. You cannot attend the weddings of distant relatives. So you have to sacrifice. You have to be dedicated in that sense. And you have to be committed, right? Sometimes you have to cancel a date with your one of your best friends or like I mean uh, courageous in the sense, right? Raise your hand if you have watched the movie 12th Fail. Anyone? Any film? I mean, film lover has watched 12th Fail, the movie, the Hindi movie recently. මෙතන ඉන්න එක්කෙනෙක් අතුරුස්සන්න බලන්න 12 fail බලලා තියෙන කෙනෙක් එක්කෙනෙක්වත් නැද්ද? It's not essential to watch it, right? So you can watch it. So it says that you'll be having number of obstacles. University life cricket, you'll be having number of obstacles. So have them as some sort of a thing which molds your life. ඔයාගේ life එක bolster කරන, improve කරන, develop කරන දෙයක් බවට ඒ challenges පාත් කරගන්න. Okay. Shall we move into the next slide? Be moderate. This is very important. මෙතන ඉන්න යුනිවර්සිටි ළමයි දැන් හිතනවා ස්කූල් එකේ ඉඳලා ආවට පස්සේ මෙතන තියෙනවා කට්ටියගේ අපි තියෙනවා අපි සිංහලෙන් කියනවා ගැටි ගහනවා කියලා. ඒක ගැට්ට තියෙනවා. ඒක ළමු ගැට්ට තියෙනවා. නුවර ගැටි ඇති, right? ඊට පස්සේ ස්කූල් රොයල් නම් රොයල් ගැට්ට, ආනන්ද නම් ආනන්ද ගැට්ට, ඊට පස්සේ වෙන ධර්මරාජ නම් මලියදේව නම්. So we'll be having number of ගැටි things, right? So the university students also, they are much attached. එයාලා ගොඩක් attached වෙලා තමයි ඉන්නේ මේ එයාලගේ ගැට්ටත් එක්ක. හැබැයි if you become moderate, sometimes, right? Sometimes they'll be having some sort of other distractions in the sense වගේ යාළු සමාජයට දාලා යන්න පුළුවන්, යාළුකම් නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන්. So if you try to be moderate with them, even when it comes to school life, you'll be having number of closest friends, right? So if they are making any distraction in your life, I mean in your relationship as a friend, right? The thing which is there is really, 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 I mean, horrible for you to bear it up, right? So in that sense, try to be moderate. හැමතිස්සෙම moderate වෙන්න try කරන්න. ඔයාගේ achievements ගැන වාස්තවික වෙන්න. ඒ වගේම පරාජය වෙද්දී දුක් වෙන්න එපා. මම මුලින්ම කිව්වා beloved citizen කෙනෙක් වෙන්න කියලා. ඊට පස්සේ හැමතිස්සෙම hina වෙලා ඉන්න එකත් වැදගත්. හැමතිස්සෙම ඔයාට enemy කෙනෙක් හිටියොත් with a smile you have to address. It's important. Those are attitudes. I'm using your valuable time just to recall this stuff, especially for my school students, because they are lacking a bit. You have to understand. Even when it comes to university undergrads, then in the lamai hari amutu ජීන් වගේ තමයි කියන අපේ university කාලේ කියලා එහෙම කියන්නේ මොකද මම ඉච්චර වයස 40s 50s නෙමෙයි. But now they are a bit techno oriented who are lacking those human qualities. Okay, not you, but most of the general students, right? Okay, can we have the next slide for that? Celebrate diversity. Yes. You have to celebrate the diversity, right? We'll be having a number of people, right, who are deprived of economy, who are deprived of education, right, who are deprived of, I mean, certain things. So in that sense, you have to understand, you have to celebrate that diversity. It's important in the sense, හැමතිස්සෙම හැමෝම අගය කරන්න පුරුදු වෙන්න. Right? Then සමහරු first class ඉන්න ළමයෙක් ඉන්න පුළුවන්. අපෝ ඌනම් මේ පොතේම ඉන්නේ. ඌනම් මෙලෝ රහක් නැහැ. හරි. ඩිබේටිං වල සමහරට ඉන්න පුළුවන් එහෙම ඉන්නවා. ඒතර ඌනම් පොතේම ස්පෝර්ට් එකක් කරන්න. හරි. ඌනම් මෙහෙමයි like you'll be having certain assumptions, right? And for some people, you are making confessions also of those people. Don't do that, right? So you have to celebrate diversity. Each and every human being is a human being where they'll be having number of diversified potentials, right? So you have to do that. You have to be creative, right? So you have to celebrate that diversity using their potentials. You'll be having number of, now when it comes to your clash of minds, right? You'll be using the potentials. Nisma, right? I think she is a Muslim girl from a reputed educational school, education established. She's having a good command of English. We'll be having a single student, same as her, who's having good potential, right? So we'll be having a number of individuals, right, who are really talented. In that sense, you have to celebrate that diversity, have to use that diversity, right? So in my university career, I had a Muslim friend, right? So I learned a lot from him. So it's really important. Shall we move into the next slide? Learn, humble to learn, right? You're always having the practice of learning, right? So try to have the practice of learning, right? It's very important to have the practice of learning, right? Because අනිවාර්යෙන්ම තේරුම් ගන්න අවශ්‍යම දේ තමයි පුතා, you have to practice learning always. Even when you're in a university, now, we have management students here mostly, so they can start reading books which are related to science, maths, right, aesthetics, right? They can grab the knowledge from the library. They can use TikTok, YouTube, and other social media. Always try to learn a word, right? Always try to be engaged in learning. It's important. Okay, so practice that as well. Okay. So with that 10 minutes, so few seconds, few minutes, which I used to share some attitudes which are important. So I mentioned love, right? Being dedicated, committed, right? Being moderate. Then you have to be humble to learn. And the other one, you have to celebrate the diversity. Right. Shall we move into the next slide? The important thing is succeed in your debating career, right? Succeed in your debating career, you have to have it, right? Okay, before that, we'll do some sort of an interesting thing. Now, this is the thing, right? Suppose or imagine, right, that you can hear the sound of animals who are engaged in communication, right? Or else you can hear what they are conversing in, right? So I'm giving you a tablet which will enable you to understand what they are really communicating, right? So one should present the idea whether they are drinking that tablet which will enable to understand the communication among animals, and the other one can present his or her own creative ideas, whether she will not be or he will not be drinking that, having that tablet, which will enable him or her to understand the communication. I සිංහලෙන් සරලව කිව්වොත් හරි ටැබ්ලට් එක මම දෙනවා. ඒ ටැබ්ලට් එකේ බිව්වට පස්සේ සත්තු කතා කරන ඒවා ඔයාලට අහන්න පුළුවන්. ඔයා බොනවා නම් ඔයාලට මොන වගේ ක්‍රියේටිව් අදහස්, for instance අපි ගමු මෙහෙම I'm an introvert person. So my loving dog is my everything. So to share ideas to prevent my boredom, to reduce my boredom, I'll be drinking that tablet, right? මොන්නේ නැත්තම් ඔයාලට කියන්න පුළුවන් අපේ ගෙදර මදුරුව ගොඩක් ඉන්නවා. නිදාගෙන ඉන්න වෙලාවට උම්මුණු මුණු ගාද්දි මල කරදරයක් නැත්නම් අර ෆිල්ම් එකේ වගේ විශාල කරදරයක් වුණා මේක කියලා. So you can think and come up with a creative idea, right? Right. So just, think of some sort of a creative idea, right? අපි උදාහරණයක් ගත්තොත් පාරේ යන ගමන් ඔය ටැබ්ලට් එක බිව්වොත්, so I can hear, two dogs are blaming each other. So I would drink that because I don't want to hear someone blaming someone, right? So you can come up with a creative idea, right? Okay, first of all, I'll be giving the chance to one of the university, one of the school students, right? Can we have a school student with a creative idea? Debating is all about thinking, analyzing, and it's all about critical thinking. Putha. Now, when it comes to a motion which is given to you have to think, being creative. So, මං කියනවාට ටැබ්ලට් එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒ ටැබ්ලට් එක බිව්වට පස්සේ ඔයාට ඇනිමල්ස්ලා කමියුනිකේට් කරන එක අහන්න පුළුවන්. ඔයා බොනවා නම් ඇයි ඔයා බොන්නේ? ඔයා බොන්නේ නැත්නම් ඇයි ඔයා බොන්නේ නැත්තේ? So you have to come up with that. Any volunteer? But you have to talk, huh? Right? Sometimes we'll be having our dinner when I'm having this thing, right? Sometimes we'll be watching a cartoon or watching a movie, but feel free to unmute and come up with your idea. Come on, guys. We did a cut here, right? This one can be have an idea. I mean, a creative idea from you. Whether would you? I mean, whether will you drink it? Will you drink the tablet or not?
There are some advantages from drinking, but at the same time, we have some disadvantage because, for example, I'm loving my cat at my home, but if it hates me, if it think like that, it would feel awkward for me. It will be a sad thing for me.
Okay, it's really great. So, any other one? I mean, girls normally love cats, I hope. Yeah. And some boys like Sean Malik, they do love cats. Right. Okay. Any dog lover can come up with a nice idea. Can we have an idea from Kavidu Mini Kalumam? Now, picking up some names randomly, don't leave. Just an idea. Single hari kamanna kiyanne tablet එක මොනවද? නැද්ද? You have to to be specific whether you are drinking or not. That's it. I want some creative reasons. Kavidu, are you sleeping? Or else you will be having some sort of another book. Is it? Or, right? Are you, organizing the idea? Or we'll move into another, school student, Dilani Rajapaksha. Can we have an idea from you?
I would drink that tablet. And I have a dog. Every time I see my dog, I go and squeeze him and I kiss him. So if I could drink that tablet, like I could hear my dog's thought, like, "Oh my God, she's coming! I better hide away." Like I think I can hear that thought, so I would drink that.
Okay, the dog is still suffering, right? Okay, right. Then any other idea? But you can be more creative, right? Rather than dogs and cats, you can use your brain. I mean, mosquitoes are there, right? Several other animals are there. We'll give the chance for one more idea. Any volunteer to come up with an idea?
Can I go for it?
Sure.
So I would say to treat all other animals as same, not just dogs and cats. So not only us humans have our struggles, the animals, they do also have their struggles. So we might need ears to know what is it so we can help them out.
It's really great. It's really great, right? Great idea. So I love to have a react also. It's a great idea, right? It's really great because when it comes to compassion, right? The first attitude that which I told you, so you have to have that compassion and empathy within you, really quick, right? So thank you for that ideas, right? We'll be moving to the important part of this lecture, this workshop. So shall we have the next slide to the Okay, so basically, I'll be talking of this importance of debating, physical structure of a debate, then the mark sheet of a debate, which is very important for you, and which where the organizers even insist me and ask me to have the idea about this. I mean, to grant you the idea, law of a debate, and essential fundamentals to be an eloquent debater. Right. We'll move into the first one. Importance of debating. Right. Okay. So when it comes to importance of debating, right? Shall we have the next slide to that? Right. The first thing, right? The first thing is you have to be fortified with the knowledge, right? You can be fortified with the knowledge. For that, if you want to be a debater or a journalist or a presenter or a public speaker, I'm a Toastmaster as well. So we will be having Toastmasters here who are there, right? So, I mean, there can be some members from Gamble Club, Track, Isaac, any set of public speaking setup. You have to understand. You have to be knowledgeable. You have to be fortified with the knowledge, right? When you are doing debating, Buddha, you'll be started exploring, right? You'll be started exploring the knowledge, right? Now, for instance, suppose that I have been, I mean, I have been to most of those media competitions. Recently, also I visited. The school students are really lacking their potential in live presenting. මොකද වෙන්නේ live presenting වල ඇයි යාළුවෝ knowledge එකක් නැත්තේ? මොකද හේතුව they cannot handle the situation. So they are not having an idea regarding the situation. Now, when it comes to an exhibition, right? So they are given simply, I mean, to be a host or an anchor to present some sort of, I mean, a situation of an exhibition. But to talk of an exhibition, he or she is lacking knowledge. Even when it comes to a funeral of an eminent person, right? So they are lacking the knowledge. So first of all, remember the basic importance of doing debating is that you can be knowledgeable. So I did the bioscience for my A levels, but as a debating captain, I could capture academic, several academic details. So several, I could gather knowledge related to arts, related to commerce, right? I mean, several other fields as well. So the basic importance of doing debating is that you can be knowledgeable. Now we have management students here. Now, for instance, could I imagine you'll be getting a topic regarding AI technology, artificial intelligence, or else you'll be given some sort of a topic based on gene technology. School students like so don't use ChatGPT, right? It's not an updated one. It's updated up to 2022, right? So I mean, අපිටත් තියෙනවා අපේ මගේ university අපේ සාමාන්‍ය works වෙනවා ගොඩක් ළමයි so they are using ChatGPT. Don't use it, right? normally you're using, right? So ChatGPT is not gathering knowledge. You can use Google Scholar, right? Google Scholar. If you're having a notepad, you can write. I'll be transferring this presentation as well, but you can write Google Scholar. Use raise hand option if you're using Google Scholar. Putha. Anyone using Google Scholar other than for researchers? You can use Google Scholar. Just type on Google Scholar. There will be having number of research articles, right? So keep that in mind, right? From today onwards, start exploring knowledge. More you explore, right? More you improve your talent as a debater, as a presenter, as a public speaker, right? So understand that the basic importance is being fortified with knowledge. The other one, development of multitude of skills. There must be of here, sorry. Development of multitude of skills like soft skills. Soft skills in the sense you have public relations, the practice of public relations, right? All the පුළුවන් team එකක් මේවා කරගන්න. If you are having leaders here from school debating teams, can I see your raise? Hands raised. Any captains? Okay, right. So, as a captain, you can practice your leadership skill. Soft skill in the sense how you manage a person, right? Believe me, right, keep that in your mind. When we are moving to the next world, what matters is not paper qualifications. Paper qualifications matter, but you have to understand skills and attitudes are the ones which matter most other than the knowledge. So now, for instance, I'm having a first class, and if someone is having a first class, if the other one is having a second upper or a second lower class, right? If they're having the skill, the soft skill, how do you manage people, how do you address people, right? The second person will be having the high probability of getting the chance. So try to understand that. I'm telling you for this, especially for university students, as a graduate of University of Sri Jayewardenepura, you'll be getting socialized one day. In that day, remember to improve your knowledge, command of English, your attitudes. How do you manage people? How do you talk to people? It's important, right? As a debater, how do you talk them in a rhetorical way, a direct way, specific way? Those are soft skills. Then communication skills, once again, just the same. How do you manage that issue? How do you handle that issue? How do you address that issue? Right? You'll be having number of issues in your working arena. Remember, school students, they're having a competition, but they are mostly friends. University students, they are not having a competition mostly, but they are almost friends. But when it comes to the professional arena, you'll be having number of enemies, to be honest. Remember, because you'll be having the people who are jealous of you. You have to handle that situation. There will be people who will be cutting off your, the opportunities. You have to handle that situation, right? There will be people who will be who will be putting you down, who will be, criticizing you. You have to address that situation. So all those stuff, you have to build up your personality as a debater. Right? Debater කෙනෙක්ගේ අනිවාර්යෙන්ම quality එක තමයි. යාළුවෝ හොඳ personality එකක් තියෙනවා, right? It's important, right? So remember that debating කරා කියලා කවදාවත් වරදින්නේ නැහැ. Always I'm stressing this one. Recently also I visited University of Sri also I told in Sinhala, debaters are always Pushtimat and Lushtimat. Pushtimat mean they are fortified with strength. Lushtimat mean they are having a good vision, right? So I also did debating and still engaged in judging as a national level judge. So the opportunities are there. So you won't be lost. We are having doctors, we are having professionals, we are having lawyers who are past debaters in Sri Lanka from prominent reputed schools and other schools, right? So don't worry that you are doing debating, right? So you'll be having number of skills with communication skills. The other one, critical thinking, right? I gave you a small task as some sort of an activity, whether you are drinking the tablet which will enable you to communicate with animals or not, right? If you are drinking that tablet, you'll be having some sort of advantages. If you're not drinking, you won't be having those advantages, right? So you can analyze, you can be critical, understand that. When you are doing a research as well, right, you have to understand that always you have to analyze everything. Now we are having beloved students from university here, Buddha, where you have to engage in researches. If you can start from the first year, I'm giving you a general idea as a lecturer. Start your researches, the research methodologies from your first year onwards. It's really important, right? The other one, creative thinking. It is improve your creative thinking skill as well. The other one, argumentative potential, right? School students normally they are having that. Now, current students are having that potential mostly. They're having arguments with teachers. With we had those with beloved mother, Amma you are presenting reasons, right? Right? If your crush says something not to do, you are not doing it with reasons, right? So, like if your girlfriend or boyfriend refuse to do, so you are having some sort of argument, sound arguments. So use that sound arguments to your debating field as well. In normal life, you are having debates with several people, with a girlfriend or boyfriend or crush or doni or apache, anything. Still be having a number of things, right? Number of debates. But at the end of the day, try to improve your argumentative potential. And the other one, leadership skill, right? So your leadership skill will be improved. It's important. Now, for instance, uh, if there is a person who is interested to get into academic field, right? I was interested by my supervisory professor to engage in several tasks. Right? He did evaluate me, and at the end of the day, almost all the tasks which were entrusted were based on leadership. So I had to handle those, right? So you have to understand you can use this debating skill to be a good leader as well, right? So you won't be lost anyway. Remember, you'll be upgraded always with these multitude of skills. Finally, development of a prominent analytical citizen. You'll be developed as a prominent analytical citizen in the sense who are having who are having the potential of analyzing, right? So remember these important factors. I'm really sorry, I'm not well, but we'll proceed, right? Can we proceed to the next slide, Pudha? Right. Then the physical structure. This is very important, right? This is very important. Now, always remember, may make a math because seating arrangements මාරු කළ තම හදලා තිබ්බේ. හොඳට මතක තියාගන්න. Seating arrangements කරද්දී මේක හරිම generalized rule එකක්. අපිට ඉස්සරහා ඉඳලා බලද්දී front view එකේදී හැමතිස්සෙම left hand side will be having what? Preposition. Left hand side will be having preposition. Now we are moving to a debate, right? So the first hand side will be having preposition. Right hand side will be having opposition. That is from the front views. Front views, right? And the chairperson will be there and another person will be there as the timer. Chairperson in the sense will be the person who will be handling the situation. Handling the occasion. Then judge stable, right? Any volunteer to tell me now, you have to emphasize that, de-emphasize that. This will be following the parliamentary style, but this is the direct version of Sinhala debating tip. මම සිංහලනුත් කියන්න පුතා. මේක පාර්ලිමේන්තු ක්‍රමය අනුගමනය කළා වුණාට මේ පාර ස්ට්‍රක්චර් එකේ පුතාලා සාමාන්‍යයෙන් සිංහල ඩිබේටින් කරනවා වගේ ගොඩ platforms වල මේ format එකද ඒකෙම English version එක තමයි මේ තියෙන්නේ. Right? So you can follow up the parliamentary style in the sense preposition leader of the preposition can be named as Prime Minister. Then leader of the opposition can be named as the opposition leader. Then the second member, Deputy Prime Minister, and the other Deputy Opposition Leader, and the other members as a parliament. Then in that parliamentary genre, you'll be having chairperson as the speaker. Parliament ක්‍රමය කියලා අපි ගත්තොත් ඒක ඔයාලා organizing committee එක ඔයාලට inform කරයි. Preposition leader එතකොට වෙන්නේ අග්‍රාමාත්‍යතුමා Prime Minister. Second member Deputy Prime Minister එහා පැත්තේ opposition leader Deputy Opposition Leader. You have to have that. එහෙම නැත්නම් members ලා will be generally leader of the proposition, second member, third member, fourth member. The team members la will be having 4 members, right? Front view එක හැමතිස්සෙම must be always left hand side, that is preposition, and right hand side, that is opposition. Back view එක ගත්තාට පස්සේ stage එකේ පැත්තේ ඉඳලා ගත්තොත් stage එකේ ඉඳලා ඉස්සරහට මුහුණ දැම්මොත් right hand side always proposition and left hand side opposition. ඒ කියන්නේ stage එක පැත්තේ ඉඳලා out. හරි? Judges ලා ඉන්න mount එක must be what? In British parliamentary style, you can use 2 adjudicators, adjudicators or judges. Now, in this system, we have to have an odd number of judges. Can someone unmute and tell me the reason? Odd number of judges ගන්නේ. කියන්නේ 3 hari, 5 hari, 7 hari, 9 you call it a full bench, but it's a rare occasion where you are using 9 judges. Why are we using an odd number of judges? Odd number of judges done? Any genius to tell me the answer? Any volunteer? I put up the odd number of judges done.
So that during the decision, you can take the majority of one even.
Okay, yes, great. The exact answer. Now, if the verdict is not same in 3 judges, so we have to have the verdict of the majority. So, for instance, the center, the judge, wrong. The judge or the adjudicator who is seated at the center of the judge panel, we call it center judge. Now, the center judge we are having a senior member, and based on our seniority. So, if I'm having junior members at the judge panel, I'm being there as the center judge, mostly for university debates, right? If I'm having a senior member, I'll allow him or her to be the center judge. So we'll be having the center judge in the middle, and we'll be having the other judges. Suppose that from the marks, we'll be having the verdict of 2 judges partial to preposition, and a verdict of 1 judge partial to the opposition. So the proposition will win, right? Or number එකක් අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම ගන්නේ decision එක divided decision එකක් වුණොත් වැඩි decision එකකින් කාගේද mark sheets තියෙන්නේ කියලා. British parliamentary style එකේ අපි marking score එකක් follow කරනවා, but as I stressed you, this is the direct version of Sinhala debating. The medium is just changed. So we are not using that scoring scale. If we have, there might be people who have done British parliamentary debates. So there we are using the score from 69 to 84. 69 mean needs to be improved. 84 mean excellent. From that range, we are awarding marks, right? හැබැයි මේක පුතා හොඳට මතක තියාගන්න සිංහල debating එකේ English translation එක නිසා, right? Will be giving marks based on the mark sheet. I mean, the translated mark sheet will be having that up next, right? So we'll be having 3 judges, right? The influence of center judge is bit greater than the other judges, but the majority, if the majority casts their verdict for a certain party, that party will win, right? නිසා මේ debate එකේ මතක තියාගන්න, you have to keep that in your mind in an emphatic way. We'll be taking the verdict of the judges based on their marks. We are not collecting the marks, right? Based on their individual marks, the verdict will be decided by each judge based on the majority of, the casts given by them, right? The winner will be selected, right? So you have to remember, we'll be having another number of judges, right? So based on this physical structure, how does it flow, right? Starting from the proposition leader, then moving to the leader of the opposition. Mulima proposition leader will be starting, then leader of opposition, then second member of proposition, then second member of opposition, then third member of proposition, then third member of opposition, then fourth member of proposition, then fourth member of opposition. එහෙනම් proposition captain ගෙන් පටන් අරන් team එක දෙපැත්තට බෙදි chances යනවා. Right? Keep that in your mind. You can put a note in your notebook as well. If the debate starts from the proposition leader, that should also be ended from the proposition leader. In that sense, the last written speech will be done by the leader of the proposition. The second round the leader of opposition. You have to remember that, right? The leader of the opposition will talk first in second round, whereas the debate will be ended by the speech of the leader of proposition. I'll be telling that once, repeating. Speech එක මුලින්ම start කරන්නේ proposition leader නම් debate එකේ finally cover up කරන්නත් ඕනේ කවුද? Proposition leader මයි කියන්නේ second round එකේ return speech එක, the first return speech will be done by the leader of the opposition, right? Then it will be ended by the leader of the proposition. May physical arrangement again, if you are having any doubt, you can feel free to ask me now. We have to make it clear in a way of clarity. We have to move ahead. Anyone having a doubt regarding this physical structure? Anyone having a doubt regarding the structure, Buddha? No one? Okay, so, right, I can come to a conclusion that everyone has understood, right? In general, okay. Then the important part, make it අනිවාර්යෙන් focus කරන්න. මේක තමයි වැදගත්ම කොටස. පුතා, shall we move into the next slide? Right. හොඳට බලන්න. මේක ඉතාමත් වැදගත් එකක්. මේකට අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම හොඳට focus කරන්න. මේකත් එක්ක තමයි අපි positional role එක කතා කරන්නේ. debate එක කොහොමද move වෙන්නේ කියලා. හරි? When it comes to the first speaker, right? If you're having a notebook, you can write these features, right? The first speaker, of the proposition or the opposition, has to come up with, she or he has to come up with a base. ඒ කියන්නේ topic එකේ idea එක ඇයි අපි bear up කරන්නේ කියලා you have to come up with a base, right? Before base also you can have a sound introduction, right? The captains can write this, note this in your notebook. Your speech must include first and foremost the introduction, the sound introduction. Suppose you are talking of gene technology. So you can grant some sort of an idea regarding gene technology. An introductory minutes. You can have few seconds to have an introduction, right? That must be really, attractive. Nikang patan ganna too. So you can have a general idea, right, when it comes to AI, right? So you can start, with the eminent journey trodden by humankind as Homo sapiens, artificial intelligence or AI was initiated in 1951. Exactly, I think 1951 or 52. I can't exactly remember the year. So you can have sound introduction for the topic. The first thing. The second one, you have to have definitions. The definitions cannot be, right, of your own, the imaginary world, right? Mage sudu taati mehema kiwwa, mage doni mehema kiwwa, sir, my crush all this according to the crush, according to the opinion of my crush, blah blah. According to my boyfriend, AI technology is a blessing for, right? According to my girlfriend, AI technology is this. According to my Archie Amma, according to this and that. So you can't use those unreliable sources. Although you can rely on the alarm, it's an unreliable source, right? So you cannot rely, right? So you have to come up with the precise definitions based on precise sources, right? Remember the first speaker, sound introduction, then definitions based on sound sources, according to Cambridge Dictionary, this, according to Oxford Dictionary, right? According to this one, this stands for, right? So you have to define each and every word in the motion with a sound resource base. Clear? So you have to have that. After your definitions, you can have a base, right? Base in the sense the basic facts that you are having, right? For instance, අපි ගමු topic එකක්, motion එකක්. The role rendered by mass media in Sri Lanka, mass media in Sri Lanka to prevent environmental degradation or deterioration in Sri Lanka is sufficient or not sufficient. If you are telling sufficient, you have to show up the basic ideas why you are telling sufficient. මම ඔයාලට ටැබ්ලට් එකක් දුන්නාම පුතා, ඔයාලගේ හිටියා සමහරු, හරි? සමහරු හිටියා ටැබ්ලට් එක බොන්න කැමති අය. සමහරු හිටියා ටැබ්ලට් එක බොන්න අකමැති අය. නේද? එතකොට ඇයි ඔයා බොන්න කැමති කියලා? So you have to have general reasons. That is what you call putting a base. Base is not just telling facts, puta. The headlines. Now, when it comes to the motion, which I told you, the role rendered is sufficient. Why you are showing? Mass media is initiated or manipulated or proceeded to give people news, entertainment, and understand. Right? Moving from their general roles, they are rendering a role informing people about environment degradation. In that sense, it's sufficient. The first point, right? Mass media is having the crucial potential of expelling some executive presidents as well. With their potential, that is sufficient. And finally, moving away from those roles as well, they are having several TV channels, they are having some plantation programs, replanting, reforestation programs, right? Irrespective of their media role. So in that sense also it's sufficient. So those basic 3 points. When it comes to AI technology, you can have basic 3 points. When it comes to gene technology, you can have 2 or 3 or 4 points. Those are basic points which will clearly show what your motion is. Clear? So you have to understand that as the captain, right? So 60 marks, thoroughly observe that 60 marks will be given for your presenting the facts. Presenting the facts in the sense the first speaker should have sound introduction, sound definitions, and sound base. Base can be with 3 or 4 basic points, maximum 5, right? Then eloquence and organize. You have to organize your factors. And when you're having eloquence in the sense, you can use your voice in a way to stress the thing, right? Stress your emotion. Plus, gestures and speaking style, you have to use natural gestures. ඔයාලට නටන්න බෑ පුතා, right? ඔයාලට නටන්න බෑ, right? You cannot have a breakdown. So you have to have natural gestures. And you have to have eye contact. දැන් මම නම් ඔයාලට කැතයි. හරිද? හැබැයි ලස්සන ජජ්ජස්ලා තොතනට එනවා. එතකොට so you can watch them, right? So you can, I'm really sorry for the background sound. There's a public announcement going on. Right? Hope you cannot hear that, right? Gestures and publics, right? Right? Gestures and speaking style. Gestures and speaking style, right? Gestures in the sense your gestures must be sorry for the time taken because there's a general public is not now even going outside. So gestures, you cannot dance there, right? Eye contact. එතකොට එහා පැත්තේ team එක බලන්න ඕනේ judges ලා දිහා බලන්න ලස්සනට. So yeah, you have to do it present, right? ඉනත් වෙන්න ඕනේ බුම්මගෙන ඉන්න එපා, right? Like some girls are there like just kidding, right? Some are like a feminist. You are having that. I mean the grandeur of being feminist. Only some are girls, they don't even utter. I mean, they don't even smile, right? They're such serious. Don't be such serious, right? So you can smile, you can have the eye contact, right? And this the speaking style. I should recall there is a nice person which I have met from University of Jaffna, right? His students must be here sometimes. Hasita Gimhan Pereira, now he is a lecturer, one of my good friends. He's having a unique debating style, unique speaking style, which I love most. I have to remember him because I'm one of his fans as well. When you're presenting, you don't want to be Dhananjay Nanayakar, you don't want to be Nick, or you don't want to be Abdul Kalam. You have to be you. Now, when it comes to Somi, now he's a YouTuber. Hope you might know him via social media approaches, right? Via Chaturmana thing also he won a place. Somi is having a unique debating style. He did single debating. Even I have judged him as well in different platforms. So he is having a unique debating style, unique speaking style. You can have it, right? So when it comes to English debating also, you can balance your voice, you can balance your vocals. So remember, eloquence and being organized and gestures and speaking style. Every speaker is given, every speaker is given 40 marks out of 100. So you have to be keen on the way you speak and the way you handle your gestures. Gestures in the sense, hand movements, facial expressions, then your other expressions, right? So those must be very natural. So the first speaker, once again repeating, he or she should have sound introduction, precise definitions, precise base with points, then eloquence and being organized, then gestures and speaking style. Okay. Any question with regard to the speech of first speaker? Any questions you can ask? Right. Then moving to the second speaker, you can see now see the order here. Gradually, the marks for presenting the facts they are gradually being decreased. Right. See, 40 marks for second speaker, 30 marks for third speaker, and 20 marks for fourth speaker. Right. Based on the time that you are given, you have to manage that. That is what you call positional role. Now, the second speaker adhering to the base එකට align කළා තමයි, right? Base එකට align කළා තමයි second speaker he or she must present the points, right? A points කියන්නේ it must be solid points, right? You cannot have individual examples, right? Take some sound solid points which can make a huge impression, right? So presenting the facts, and also we are expecting you to make a source file, right? The details with references. Now, I know that as we university undergraduates, we are enjoying making lab reports, right? So at the end of the lab report, at the last page, you are writing references. A&R references then අපි ඒ කාලේ හිතමුලේ, right? කොහමද Google එකේ search කරලා ඒ topics ටික එක පඩපඩ කරලා you are writing those lists, but it's not that. So supportive with the base, you can find some scientific researches, and you can have some images as well, right? For your source file, try to have a source file. If you are having no idea regarding how to make a source file, feel free to ask. I'll drop you my WhatsApp numbers. You can contact me and I'll tell you how to make a source file if you haven't prepared a source file before, right? Source file in the sense you are writing the topic and you are tabulating as prop 1, prop 2, prop 3. Then you can add some images. Now, for instance, talking of the motion which I told you before, they're all rendered by mass media sufficient to protect environments. You can have some sort of an image by a TV channel who has done some reveal regarding some sort of an environment degradation. Now, when it comes to their role, the general role which they have to do, that's sufficient enough, right? So you have to show that, right? Then breaking points, right? Breaking points can be broken in two ways: by a point or by an argument. You call it rebuttals, right? Point or rebuttal, point or an argument. Remember that telling their point and telling your point will merely don't support. You have to have an interaction with those points, and when you are presenting an argument, you have to prepare a bridge. A points දෙක අතර bridge එකක් ඇති කරන්න ඕනේ, convince කරන්න ඕනේ judges ලා. නැත්නම් marks හම්බෙන්නේ. දැන් මම පැහැදිලිව කියනවා පුතා, second speaker මොකද කරන්න ඕන? අර first speaker කියපු base එක align කරලා source based වෙලා, now we can say my intellectuals or the adjudicators referring to proposition number 1 in the source file. You can tell this channel has done this sort of a reforestation program in this, right? You can have, right? Then the third speaker generally utilizes his time equally for breaking points and presenting points, right? So you have to be time concerned based on the marks allocated. Then the fourth speaker, right? He or she has to start her speech by telling some points, so at the end of his or her speech, she or he can present some points, right? Much location will be granted for breaking points, that is 40 marks. And when it comes to the written speech, I have to emphasize that return speech එකේ කිසිම වෙලාවක අලුත් points කියවෙන්නේ නැහැ. So don't use your time to come up with new points. don't use your time to come up with new points. Useless, because you can see in the marking scheme it's card, right? So you are not given marks. So 60 marks will be allocated for breaking the points. So this is the general mark sheet of a debate. So you can clearly have, once again, if I wrap up this mark sheet, the first speaker should come up with a sound introduction, definitions base, and for all five speeches, eloquence and organized nature, gesture and speaking style will be considered, right? The second speaker, he will be having, second speaker will be having 40 marks, 40% for presenting the facts and 20% for breaking. Third speaker will be having equal amounts for presenting and breaking points. The fourth speaker, 40% and 20%. Remember, Buddha, I have judged more than 200 debates. With my experience, almost fourth speakers and second speakers are lacking marks. Mostly fourth speakers are lacking marks because they are lacking their time to come up with new points. Right? මේ misconception එක අයින් කරගන්න. මොකද ගොඩක් අය හිතනවා fourth speaker should break points only, but it's not that. You have to come up with new points as well. See? You have to come up with new points as well. You are given 20 marks there, right? ගොඩක් ළමයින්ට out of 20, they are not getting even 5 out of 20. I'm a person who is not giving marks generally. But I'm a that kuna. Kuna in the sense that I'm specific. I'm not kuna in the sense, I mean, in general life, but when it comes to marks, granting marks, right? So I'm not granting marks if that is not being reserved by them, right? Right? Reserved by them. So if it's deserving, I'll be giving marks. So, yeah. So out of 20, most of the fourth speakers, they haven't taken even more than 10 most of the time, because they are not having time to present new points. Remember that. The written speech, you can break points, and I could add something. If you are having time, right? If you are having time, try to have a time to summarize your debates, right? How you came up with uh, sound introduction, how you came up with good sound base, and how was it delivered by the second speaker, third speaker, fourth speaker. You can have a simple summary utilizing few seconds or few minutes. Remember, don't use more than 1 minute, less than 1 minute. You can use your time to tell the synopsis or the summary, right? Okay. Any clarification with regard to this mark sheet? Remember, as I emphasized before, this is a generalized mark sheet, right? This is a generalized mark sheet. This is a generalized mark sheet, a direct translation of Sinhala debating. Yeah, I can see that. Right. Any clarification? මොනවම හරි ප්‍රශ්න තියෙනවා පුතේ ඉක්මනට අහන්න මේ mark sheet එක සම්බන්ධයෙන්. Any clarification or any doubt? Yes.
Is it Prime Minister or the leader of opposition who should always do the reply speech?
Sorry, I didn't get you that. I couldn't hear you actually.
Is it the first speaker of both the sides who should always do the reply?
That depends, Puta. That depends because most of the speeches in Sinhala debating, the captain does. But if you are having now, this is a relay race. This is a game actually. If you are having a fully potential personality, you can utilize him or her for the return speech. From the organizing team, can I know? I mean, is there a rule? I mean, the captain should compulsorily do that, or else can the other member perform that duty with that? Nisma? reply speech is always for the captain, or the other member even can, proceed.
Yeah, normally the captain's supposed to do that in our side.
Okay. 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 So you got the idea, right? So as I told you, at the preliminary stages of this workshop, so this is a direct translation of singular debating. So in the sense, a direct translation. So in that sense, the captain is supposed to do that, the reply speech or the written speech. In that speech, no chance of presenting new points. You have to break all the points with points and arguments. Plus, if you are permitted by time, you can use some minutes or some seconds to come up with a sound summary. Right. Any other questions?
Next, can I talk?
I cannot hear you, Buddha.
Okay. Can you hear me now, sir?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes,
Hello? Okay.
yes,
So
I
I
can
was
hear you.
like,
Yes.
have a doubt. Like you spoke about fourth speakers saying about the summary, right?
No,
So
it's the return speech. It's the return speech, Buddha, not
yeah,
the fourth speech.
like for while no the fourth speaker when you were explaining, so they have to give a summary like for a minute or less than a minute, something like that. You said right.
No. If I have done it, it's some sort of a serious crime actually. So I just told I just told the thing that, the written speak. I hope, yeah. But this fourth speaker, I'll be stressing once again. Fourth speaker. So you have to break all points. You'll be having 40%, and which I told you is that you can come up with new points, present new points using one, because 20 marks will be, if the allocated time is 4 minutes, you can use 3 minutes to come up with breaking points, the rebuttals, and you can use 1 minute, nearly 1 minute, to have new points. Other than in the return speech, you have to do the summary, right? Not the fourth speech. If I've said that, it's a crime. Sorry, yeah?
I'm sorry, like maybe I might understand in a different way. And
Okay.
I was
Yes.
just uh I was just like I'm having another question as well, sir. So the
Yes.
fourth speaker at the beginning itself, they can like break all the points and they talk about the new points, or they can starting itself they can speak about the new points, then go for the breaking the points of the point.
Yeah. You can
They have
use. You can use your own style, Pooja. No worries. Because now when it comes to second speaker, now if you see the mark sheet, so there you'll be given second speaker will be given 20 marks for breaking points. So you can start your speech sometimes by breaking the points, or else you can breaking points in the sense what is expected here is that generally you have to destroy the base of the opposition. The opposition P. If it's the second member of the proposition, he or she has to
mm,
destroy the base of the opposition. If it's a member of the second member of the opposition, he or she has to destroy the base of the proposition. Right? That can be done in any time, in the sense that any time period, but specifically that has to be done. When it comes to fourth speaker, I normally recommend to present new points within first few seconds. Almost 1 minute, and they are onwards moving for breaking points. Because why? Right? If the fourth speaker start breaking points then and there, right? Having no idea with the time, he or she fails to present new points. That is there generally. That is what I told you. Out of 20, most of the students, most of even university students, they are scoring less than 5, less than 10 out of 20 for that presenting new points in their position. So what I recommend, If you can start your speech by presenting new points, and then and there, if you can break points with almost those 3 minutes, that will be really better. But if you are confident enough that you can have a proper idea about the time and you can manage your time in a precise way, you can present new points at the end of your speech. Now, when it comes to Sinhala debating, අපි ඔකට කියනවා දැන් මෙහෙම කියන්න ෆෝර්ත් ස්පීකර් කතා කරද්දී ලස්සන්ට එක කියනවා. ඒක කියනවා සමහර ස්පීකර්ස්ලා අපි දන්නවා ආදරණීය වේතන. ඔය ලකුණු පත්‍රිකාවේ මට කරුණු කියනකොටත් ලකුණු තියෙනවා කියන්නේ. ඒ වගේ එකකින් අර කන්වින්ස් කරලා ජජස් ලව so he or she will be presenting the points as the fourth speaker. එහෙම කරන අවස්ථා තියෙනවා. මම කියන්නේ සිංහල ඩිබේටිං වල ඒ නිකන් අර යුනික් ස්ටයිල් එකක් ෆලෝ කරනවා කන්වින්ස් කරලා ජජස්. So you can use any set of time period to present your points or to break your points. The time period is not a matter. That is your own. I mean, the speech is your own kingdom. Right? You can rule it in any way. Right? Got it?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other clarifications or doubts?
Sir, just to clarify, the reply speech is 5 minutes, right?
Yeah, reply speech is always 1 minute more than the first speech. That is the general rule. If it's like, the base speech of the first speech is 4 minutes, if it lasts for 4 minutes, the reply speech will be 5 minutes, right? If the first speech lasts for 5 minutes, the reply speech will be 6 minutes. You have to remember the fact that always 1 minute will be upgraded for the reply speech. If it's 4, reply 5. If it's 5, reply 6. That is the normal process. And normally we are not giving 7 minutes, right? Just 4 or 5 or 5 or 6. That is the normal process.
Thank you, sir.
Other questions? Okay, you're welcome. Any other questions?
Sir?
School students, they didn't speak. Right, yes, Sudha.
When we presenting facts or else breaking points, we are giving evidence, right? So if we provide photocopies or printouts, whether we are getting more marks or else it depends.
No, you have to understand that we all are human beings. Now, if you are a judge, suppose you are a judge now, competitors are presenting points, right? They are convincing you with the evidences. Now, one photocopy, copy of those evidences are on your hand, are on your palm. They have submitted you as well. Now, if you are submitting us a copy of those evidences, you can freely talk. It will, it will surely ease you to talk because now you can refer that. According to proposition number 1, my dear adjudicators, the America has done this sort of a thing. According to proposition 2, New Zealand has taken this sort of economic measures to have these development processes. So judges are convinced, right? So we all are human beings. If you are presenting in the good way while convincing us, we thought of giving good marks because we have worked hard for that. But if you are not talking in a proper way, right? If you fail to talk in a good way without, you're only having the evidence, but if you are not referring the evidence or if you are presenting in a way which should be improved, for the evidence, we won't be giving you bonus marks or extra marks. That will be a supplement for you, which will convince your judges. මේ මනුස්සයන හොඳට පුරුදු වෙලා ඉන්නේ. මේ මනුස්සයන හොඳ organized nature එකක් තියෙනකොට අපිටනේ අපි මිනිස්සුනේ. So we feel like giving marks. It's a bonus advantage එකක් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. Even if you have given a copy of evidences, but if you are not presenting in a good way, අපි ලකුණු දෙන්නේ නැහැ. So it stands as a supplement. In the mark sheet, you are not giving. In the mark sheet, it's not mentioned that we are giving marks for those evidences tested. Testimonies or proofs. Right? It's some sort of a supplement test. Right? Got it?
Yeah, so thank you.
Okay. Any other clarifications? Right. In absence of the other clarifications, will Nisma, are you there, Buddha? I saw that you were left.
Yeah, sir.
I don't know, you're there, right? Can we have the next slide?
Okay, sir.
Right. The flow of a debate, I told you clearly. Now, these three are the basic points. It's a relay race. You have to remember a debate is not about doing 5 speeches. හොඳට මතක තියාගන්න ස්පීචස් පහක් කරන එක නෙවෙයි. දැන් ඔයාගේ තරහකාරයෙක් ඉන්නවා නම් ටීම් එක ඇතුලේ තරහ අඩු කරගෙන you have to remember that you are a team. It's a relay race. ඔයාගේ තරහකාරයා නම් මේ ලෝකේ ඉන්න the person which you hate most is that the third speaker, and if you are the second speaker, right, you cannot take the revenge show. I mean, you cannot uh, hate, right? You have to remember now. I have to forget that hatred and revenge, and I have to be there for the team, and you have to work hard. Always remember, Buddha, it's a teamwork, right? Judges are human beings. If you can impress, if the captains can impress your base with, I mean, if the judges, I mean, are impressed with your speeches from the very first beginning, you'll be having the advantage, right? So take the advantage, try to impress the judges from the very first speech on. Now suppose, right, the first speech of the proposition is really great compared with the opposition. Then the second speaker, the opposition is much better. The third one, proposition is better. Then fourth one, once again, opposition is better, right? And the reply speech, equally better. How can you give the verdict? That is based on, you call it in Sinhala, man-to-man happana or man-to-man approach. We'll be giving some plus and minuses. For instance, now, if the first speech of proposition is better, we'll be giving +1. Second, opposition one is better, then +1 for opposition. Then third one, once again, proposition, much better, then +2. Then opposition, +1 for co-speaker. Then the resultant value is proposition +3, opposition +2. Then reply speech, equally better, +1, +1. Then plus 4 for sorry, +3 for proposition and +4 for opposition. Sorry, +4 for proposition and +3 for opposition. The proposition wins. That is, you call it man-to-man approach, right? We'll be giving those experienced judges are giving that, right? I have done that man-to-man thing just in tough debates only. I have experience. Recently, I could remember last year at Dharmaraj College Kandy, in that organized by Dharmaraj College Kandy, that was Yatharthe Tarkanaya. There was a debate between Royal College and Nalanda College. So I had to use that man-to-man approach to find who's the winner, because with the marks also they tally almost. So when you're tallying almost with the marks, we can use that man-to-man approach. In that sense, remember that your contribution as a relay player is crucially important, right? You have to remember that as a relay race, I mean, as a runner of a relay race, your individual performance really matters for the team. ඒක නිසා සමහරවිට second speech එක අවුල් ගියාම third speaker should take that baton and perform for him or her as well. Right? It's a relay race. I have mentioned clearly, each member should be highly conscious about the mark allocation with regard to their specific positions. Now I have discussed it. And finally, I have mentioned in tough debates, verdict is given through man-to-man approach. That is what which I mentioned clearly, right? So you have to remember, flow of speech travels the leader of the proposition, leader of opposition, then second speaker of proposition, second speaker of opposition, then in such way it travels, right? Can we have the next slide to the right? These are the important factors, right? Essential fundamentals. Being fortified with knowledge. You have to be fortified with knowledge. Be a good listener. It's important. Why to be a good listener? Because ඔයාලට debate එකේ අහගෙන හිටියොත් විතරයි පුතා you can grab points to be broken, right? So you have to be a good listener. Then positional role, which I mentioned you clearly with related to marks. Then natural gestures. Your gestures must be natural. You have to remember your gestures must be really natural. Other than that, if your gestures are not natural, right, you cannot do that. Your gestures must be really natural, right? Then the other one, voice balance, right? Voice balance must be there, right? So you can balance your voice, right? You can use your nice gifted voice to emphasize and to present points. Then minimization of terms to address. මේක ගොඩක්ම වෙන්නේ සිංහල ඩිබේටිං වල. හරිද? ආදරණීය වියතුනේ කියලා එකක් කියනවා. ඒක හැමතිස්සෙම කියනවා. ආදරණීය වියතු එහෙම බලුවම සාමාන්‍ය 1 minute ඇතුලේ හරිද? ආදරණීය වියතුනේ කියන එක 30 seconds, right? 40 seconds වගේ කියලා. ඉතින් අපරාධයි. Right? So they are using much time to address. So you don't use much time to address use. I mean, there also we cannot pay them dear adjudicators, dear judges, dear adjudicators, dear judges, dear this, dear this. Don't use that. Don't use terms to address. Right? Go with your points. Right? Then I can mention relevant gestures. Gestures must be relevant, right? And be realistic. You cannot use imaginary mentality. You have to be you have to come down. All right, you have to come down and talk. Be realistic. Then minimization of repetitions. Don't repeat terms. Don't repeat points. And finally, discipline. Discipline in the sense of our time management. When the other member of a team is presenting, don't talk. Right? Don't disturb. Right? You have to be well disciplined as a debater as well. Right. So can we have the next slide? Right. You have to have this special notice. You have to remember it's given. It's to be clearly emphasized that there is no exact universal set of rules as mentioned above. We don't have exact universal rules, which I mentioned, but it's a common set of rules which are being formed and formulated for a specific time period by a set of current and past debaters. Now, when it comes to our arena, single arena and English arena, we have a council, the debaters council, English debating, so they are giving rankings for schools, right? Even for single debating, so we have past debaters, also on past debaters council. So we have getting to some sort of common agreement that will be applying these rules. So we don't have exact universal rules, but it's been practiced, it's been formed and formulated and practiced for so long, right? So that's about that key debating point. So I'll be giving some extra knowledge. Before that, if you're having any clarification to that, feel free to ask me. Right. In absence of those arguments, or the clarifications, right, I'll be giving some extra sessions, extra slides for you to develop your talk. Can we move into the next one? These are extra as a debater, but also your talk, right? So you have to improve your talk. Can we move into the next slide, please? Four essential skills: reading, listening, writing, speaking. So you have to improve these skills: reading, listening, writing, speaking, to be a good speaker. Next slide, please. Grammar, pronunciation, and vocabulary. Right? It's not essential. It's not crucially important to have grammatically correct sentences always, but you can make some sort of impression where you are always correct with your grammar. Now, for instance, when you are telling the adjudicate is one of the points that I want to mention. One of the points. It's not one of the point, it's one of the points. Right? Out of several points, you are presenting one. Then one of the points. If you make terrible mistakes like everyone has this, it's not everyone have, it's everyone has. Right? With pronunciation, you cannot have the exact correct pronunciation of. I used to rectify my pronunciation almost, in the correct way, but there are even, I'll be having some mispronunciations. For instance, essential, it's not essential, it's essential. Then, career, company, those terms, and then another, you can have vegetable, it's not vegetable, it's vegetable, right? It's not video, it's video, right? So you'll be having a number of things to make your pronunciation rectified, right? So that will also improve, that will also convince the judges to offer you a mark in your presenting because you have good pronunciation. Wow, this boy or girl is having good pronunciation, right? So it's important, right? Then vocab, right? So can we move into the next slide? Listening, okay. Move to the good listener will be a good explorer of language, right? So you have to be a good listener to be a good explorer of language. The next slide. Reading is, next slide, please. It will bolster your expertise. So more you read, more you bolster your expertise. Bolster also means improves. Next slide. Writing, yes. Right. If you'll be a professional and how to pronounce this word, just don't take it as a failure word. You can check with your dictionary. I purposefully use this just to give you an idea. So you can check with it. It says authentic. The meaning of this term is authentic. You can check with your pronunciation of that. Creator, right? So great creator, authentic creator, right? So you can check up with the dictionary having written this term, right? The next slide. Speaking. So there you can organize, write your facts, and facts must be their vocal variety and body language. Next slide to the. Why speaking? It's a part of your personality, right? You can refer this winning speech by Dhananjay Hettiarachchi, who became the world champion in 2014, right? The public speaking world champion, right? And have the next slide. Grammar, yes. Right. Right. Okay. Any volunteer to point out the mistakes here? Right. I'll be giving you a gift. 50 rupee reload. Right. If anyone, right, 50 rupees. No one cares, right? Okay, 100. Okay. So any volunteer to move with this, the mistakes here? Each sentence carry a mistake. There is a mistake. One will include a spelling mistake. It's not a grammatical. Any volunteer? Okay. With the passage of time, will move. Next slide to that.
Can I go for it?
Yeah, we can. Yes.
But today morning I woke up late. It's punctuation is missing. Today morning, comma, woke up late.
Okay. The second one.
I have a free time won't come. I have free time. Won't be coming
Okay.
unnecessary.
Okay. Third one.
What's the difference? Different.
Okay.
The,
Okay. The fourth one.
this this is a 6 month course.
Course. Okay. 6
This
months. Yes. Okay. Thank you. I really enjoyed one.
the comma. Thank you, comma. I really enjoyed that.
Okay. Did you?
Enjoyed. Did you lose your cell phone? Did you?
It's
I'm
LOS,
saying
Jessica. And the final
cell
one, I met
few
John
years.
Vivier
I met John few years back.
or ago. Yes. Can we move into the next slide? So it would be there. Some of your ones were okay, but some yes. Today, this must be this morning, and I have a free time. Not it's I have free time. Then different is correct. Six difference. 6 months. Not 6 months. In 6 months. Then next one. I really enjoyed myself, must be there. Then lose, LOSC lose, then a few years before, not before, ago, or back to years. Next slide to the vocab. So I have given 5 new terms. We'll just move. Yes, next slide. My way or highway. Now, normally you'll be having lectures like this. Right? You can tell my way or highway. You can do it my way. If you cannot do it my way, just leave it likewise. Cloud9 mean extremely happy. Move and shake mean influential person. Face the music mean face the results. And diamond doesn't mean everywhere. Now, when it comes to Facebook, the Halley people are everywhere, right? You can have diamond doesn't. Right. Take it or leave it. The next one. Uh, next one. Cloud9 extremely happy. Move and shaker. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Yes. Diamond doesn't everywhere. Right. Next one. Pronunciation. It's this weaker chaos wanted image, video, prestigious, and careers. We can have these phonetics IPA. Shall we move to the next slide, please? It's bit extra, so you have to go with IPA. Next slide. Yeah, okay. The final slide, not the final, precise dictionary to make your pronunciation. It's also important other than the debating. So I thought of giving this extra support for you as well. The final slide, your happy slide. Thank you. Right, okay. So I have given my FB and WhatsApp number, or the other way around, I'll be transmitting this presentation as well. So if you're having any clarification up to now or any comment to be made, so I'll be winding up the session within upcoming 5 minutes. Right? If you're having any clarifications or any points to be made, now it's high time. Right. Don't leave. You can just drop a message. I mean, a feedback. I need that, what do you call, two-way communication. So you can have some sort of a simple message about today's workshop. And I'll drop my WhatsApp number to your message as well. So if you're having any clarifications, just drop me a text. Right.
Thank you so much, sir,
Okay.
for an informative and engaging talk. We appreciate the time and effort you put into sharing your knowledge with us today. Your insights have been truly enlightening, and we hope that our participants has found them valuable. We are very thankful to you, and I wish to convey my gratitude for the participants and the organizing team who work behind the screen to make this happen. So now we are at the end of our session. We hope that you found this informative and interesting. We look forward to see you at the future events. Thank you once again for joining us. Have a great evening. This is Nisma Nizar signing off. Cheers to all.
Are we having some sort of a screen record? I mean, a screen shot of something of the participants? Can the ones who can switch on the
Recording
video,
stopped.
just to have a nice moment? If you can only, right? Just if you can switch on the video, or else we'll leave, Nathan, because you might be having some sort of screenshots of the session, right? Okay, so good night, everyone. Have a nice day.